Hello friends, it's me again. I realized I haven't dropped a video since the Ultimate Spider-Man video, which was, about a year ago. My bad. But I have an interesting topic today for you guys, and it involves my favorite superhero slash comic book character since I could breathe, and that being Superman. Lately, Superman fans have been eating good with James Gunn's Superman on the horizon. The TV show Superman and Lois wrapped up last year in December. Mark Waid and Dan Mora on the current mainline Superman run, and Summer of Superman coming up. And I think my personal favorite is Absolute Superman, coming from DC's new All-In initiative. The Absolute Universe came from the All-In special right after Absolute Power. Y'all should go to read that. But to give you a small recap, basically, Darkseid ended up creating a universe off of his own energy in his image. So the main universe of DC is similarly created by the same concept, except it's off Superman's energy being hope. Anyways, I want to cover Absolute Superman because out of the first three launch titles for the universe, Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, I believe it to be the underrated one out of the three. So I'll give a summary of the first 6 issues since we're currently only at 7 at the time of recording. 8 should be coming out next month, which is June. After that, I'll give you my thoughts and highlight what I find so interesting about this book. Also, the first 6 issues are considered the first arc, so that's why we're mostly just covering those. So, let's dive in. So, issue 1. We open up to a monologue or narration from Kal-El describing to us what Krypton was like as a world. A planet ruled by its cities. In the cities worked the Science League, the ruling class of Krypton. Class structure defined civilization on Krypton. At the bottom was a labor guild, the hard workers of Krypton, the people of steel. This is the guild that Kal-El and his family were in. His mother, Laura Van El, and father, Jor-El, were forced into this class as their ideals and brilliant minds challenged the ideologies of what the Science League had established. Lara was only a child when she wrote an essay criticizing the lack of funding for space exploration. She was forbidden from ever being able to join the Science Academy. She was only a child. Jor-El was supposed to join the Science League after he graduated. However, the ceremony for said graduation, he gave a speech trying to bring awareness to the League's lack of care for Krypton's environment, and they kept him from ever being able to ascend the ranks. After this, we witness an accident involving Jor-El at work, which gives him the clue that something is wrong with Krypton's core. After that, we move on to current-day Brazil. Local miners have been tasked with clearing out the mine for diamonds by Lazarus Corp. And, spoiler, they're not getting paid well for it and enduring very harsh working conditions. Additionally, policy is enforced by peacemakers, as in plural. They're supposed to be the private military part of the organization. Workers go in and discover diamonds have already been mined, and they mention this has happened before in other areas. Anyways, they come out, and the peacemakers are just pissed, just because they can be, and they start beating on the workers. Eventually, Kal-El comes out. He comes in to save the workers, and more troops show up to take him down. And then we meet Lois Lane. She handcuffs herself to Kal. We get a small glimpse at Brainiac before we go back to the past, and we're back on Krypton, and we see the El family together. Pretty solid first issue. Also, I'd like to say this now. I'm only briefly summarizing these issues. I cannot give you all of the exact finer details, so even after you watch this video, please go watch it for your own, read it for your own enjoyment, because it's so much different consuming it yourself. So please go read these issues yourself. But moving on, let's get to the next issue. So issue 2 picks back up where we left off. We open back up to Lois and Kal. The cuffs need to be taken off with a special method involving Kal's suit. So he's stuck with Lois for the moment while Lazarus attacks him. He takes off but gets shot down into a smaller town. He takes down one of their helicopter tanks with a car, but it does some damage to the small town that they land in. So now it's time for damage control. He does some heroism, saving the people of the town. The cool part about this is Lois witnesses all of this right by his side, and then we get an inside look into her mind through the after-incident report that she filed. She knows the suit has some abilities that aids Cal, but everything else is him. This Superman is plenty super on his own. His abilities seem new to him in a way. He doesn't fully understand who he is yet, like a young boy, yet his ethics are unbreakable. He's shy and soft-spoken, yet confident when the time calls. He's a son without a home, a lost child, and Lois wants to understand him personally. In her private notes, she said he smelled amazing, like oak barrels of burgundy. Cal finishes saving everyone. They have a brief intimate moment where Cal opens up to her before the cuffs unlock and flies off abruptly. Lois finishes her report, but then the Brainiac system changes what she says, so she writes the report herself. We flash back to Krypton. Laura and Jor-El are working on a project and worry about their future on Krypton. Back to the present, Lois finishes writing, Cal is on the run again, and a Peacemaker aims and shoots his weapon at local civilians, taking his anger out on them. Issue 3 primarily focuses on Krypton, and Cal reflects on a childhood struggle to fit into different guilds, being too uncoordinated and slow for the training academy, and not excelling in school for the science guild, challenging years of texts and resources by doing his own research for his papers. But none of that mattered to him. He was happier in the Labor Guild. The Children of Steel, he was free in the Redlands of Krypton, away from the city. The only friends he ever needed were his parents and his dog Krypto. His parents say they're proud of him for challenging traditional ideas and to keep it up. We move on to him noticing a change in his parents' behavior though. They're working on secret projects in the garage more often, bringing work home, overhearing odd conversations. Cal then goes on to do some investigating of his own, and he begins to notice what's going on with Krypton. He even ends up writing a story and submitting it to his school's newspaper, but of course, it's removed before anyone can see it. On a school trip to the Walls of High Wisdom, he runs into his father, being detained. Jor-El tells Cal to go home and get his mother, and he does just that. And Laura tells him they're gonna get Jor-El back. She suits up using Soul, a spacesuit she created when she was a kid, and they break Jor-El out. Cal submits his findings that Krypton is dying to the Science League computers while everyone was distracted during the breakout, alerting everyone on the planet that the world is dying. We get a comforting moment between the L's explaining to Cal they're leaving the planet together. They're not sending Cal alone, and taking as many people as they can with them. Beautiful. Issue 4 covers Lois Lane's search for Superman. She travels across continents and countries looking for answers, connecting with locals in each region, interviewing them, attempting to gain their trust, even getting some justice for a victim who was abused by one of the Peacemakers. Lois gets a call from her father, and we get some banter between the two. Former General Lane has a problem with Lois not taking security along with her, and reminding her of what happened to the last officer to go out alone without security. Lois is tailed by Jimmy Olsen, a member of the Omega Men. They duke it out, but it turns out Jimmy wants to recruit Lois. Omega Prime, their leader, interrupts them, trying to kill Lois. They fight for a bit until Superman intervenes, tosses Omega Prime, or Primus, away, and tells Lois to stop looking for him. Some Peacemakers pull up to save Lois, and Supes just freezes them with his breath and takes off. Lois goes away, and one of the Peacemakers ends up killing a group of civilians in rage. End of issue 4. Now, issue 5. We're back on Krypton 6 years before our current events. Everyone now knows the planet is dying, and we get to see the fallout as the world begins to tear itself apart. The L's are stricken with grief when they're realizing what is going to happen to their world, and the fact that not everyone is going to make it. We break back to the present, where Superman breaks into a Lazarus facility looking for Peacemaker Smith, the Peacemaker that committed the atrocities last issue. And Cal is majorly pissed. We go back to the destruction of Krypton. Cal has a close call, but he's saved by Krypto. It's awesome. Soul takes off with what the L family could gather, and all seems well. Until a chunk of the planet collides with the ship. Soul splits up to save what it can, and Cal is separated from his parents. This isn't enough, however, and unfortunately, Cal is the only person who makes it off the planet alive, as far as we know. To present, Cal stops searching for Smith because he's afraid that if he gets his hands on him, he'll do something he'll regret. He tells Soul to stop looking for him, and says he wants to be reminded of home and returns to Smallville. Last but not least, issue 6. So, issue 6 finally gives us some insight into Cal's arrival on Earth. It opens up to Cal in deep space, from the initial explosion on Krypton, to 8 days, to 8 weeks, to 8 months, and eventually 17 months and 14 days in. Throughout this journey, Cal wants to give up. He has no reason to live, even asking Soul to drop him in the sun. When Soul finds Earth and crash lands on, well, you guessed it, they can't farm. But moments before the crash, we get to take a look at Jonathan and Martha. They're lamenting over the fact that they have to keep fighting to keep the farm that might already be lost. Martha is about to say, in order to keep hope, they'll need a miracle. And right as she's about to say that is when Cal crashes on their field. In true Kent fashion, they take him in and they take care of him. Soul shuts down for a couple weeks and Cal is in a state of falling in and out of consciousness. His powers fluctuating as well, until he woke up one day and ran briefly away. While outside in the fields, Cal notes Kansas reminds him of home, of Krypton. Cal spends some more time with the Kents, and they both thank him privately, saying that he gave them hope and saved each other. Eventually, Soul activates again. Cal learns English through Soul and finally communicates with the Kents. Their neighbor rats on them to Lazarus, unfortunately, and a struggle happens later, and Cal has to leave to protect the Kents. On the run for almost 5 years, finding comfort only in isolated areas, only briefly. We go to the present. Lois has arrived in Smallville, and she's here to see Martha. After that, we find out the big bad behind Lazarus is Ra's al Ghul. Or Ra's al Ghul, whichever you prefer to say, but I prefer Ra's since I played the Arkham games. Anyways, that's issue 6. I guess I'll cover issue 7 very briefly, because there's not much to say, but issue 7 just covers Brainiac's origin, and that concludes what Absolute Superman has told us so far. Now you're up to date. But now, I want to highlight what I find to be the best parts of this run. I love the world building so far. The class structure on Krypton is really interesting to me. Changing the house symbols to class symbols was a great choice. Making Superman's iconic symbol mean that those who were hard workers and the children of the dirt and the people of steel wore that symbol. It's beautiful. It's an awesome switch up. It also makes Cal's upbringing and general attitudes towards anything authoritarian that much more important. Lazarus standing as the corporate evil for the story is perfect, as it also stands against what Cal believes in. They exploit hard workers for cheap labor and make them endure poor working conditions, much like corporations today, which is obviously nothing new, but still an important message either way. But I'd like to address the characters as well. Laura and Jor-El are exciting characters to be around and read. I enjoy how they're genuine, hard-working, good people. It's good to see where Cal gets his unbreakable ethos from. Laura is also badass. I loved when she broke Jor-El out of jail using Soul for the first time. Plus, the fit was fire, and she's a baddie. But not to mention that, she's extremely intelligent, as well as a killer mechanic and an engineer. I mean, she created Soul, which also means Superman's mom still made his suit. On top of that, she's incredibly compassionate. Jor-El shares some of the same traits as Laura, of course, but I enjoy how you can vividly tell he really cares about his planet. It's one of the first things we learn about him when he's introduced. Not much else to say about him, except that I really enjoy the fact that he looks like mainline Superman. I think that's really cool. Now, Superman and Kal-El. Of course, the main character of the book is my favorite part. Also, side note, I enjoy that he's called Kal-El instead of Clark, because he never really got the time to have an upbringing on Earth. Maybe in the future he'll get his name, Clark Kent, but for now, he is just Kal. So that's why I've been referring to him as Kal instead of Clark, or Superman as much. But I digress. I deeply enjoy this take on Superman. It's refreshing and offers something different and enjoyable while still retaining the core part of the character. I think that's exactly what an Elseworlds version of a character should be. I believe at the start of the book, chronologically speaking, Cal is around 12 to 13 years old. He's just a boy. It's almost 2 years in when he meets the Kents on Earth, then almost 5 years of him on the run to our current events. So he's around ages 18 to 20. He's barely an adult. Lois's observation of him was pretty on the spot. He truly is a lost child. I mean, look at everything he's been through. Cal had an actual attachment to Krypton. He knew the wonders of the world, knew his family. There were actual emotional attachments. So when he loses them, it's catastrophic. I mean, literally, his whole world gone, just like that. I can't imagine what that would do to a child. I mean, we get a glimpse on the way to Earth, and it's nothing but pure despair. He even tells Soul to let him give up, to drop him off in the sun. And then, after landing on Earth, he gets some peace with the Kents, but even that's taken away swiftly. In that moment, he even says that he knew that this new world was just gonna end up just like Krypton, no matter what he did. On the run for nearly 5 years, isolated. This poor man has been through it. Darkseid really hates Superman. Giving him this life was personal. And despite all of that, Cal still chooses to be the champion of the oppressed, the hero for the working class. His heart is still in the right place, and that's beautiful to me. This version of Superman might exemplify hope even more than mainline supes. That's a hot take, I know, but considering all that he's been through, I feel it can make sense. Also, the suit is gorgeous. That cape, ugh, I love seeing it every single time on page. He carries Krypton with him everywhere he goes, figuratively and physically. His shy demeanor is interesting to see as well. Cal is so much more grounded here. It's cool to see that considering the abilities he has. I also enjoy the fact that he's inexperienced with his powers as well, and I can't wait to see where his character goes. Truly an interesting version of Superman. Now Lois Lane. I just want to say, I love Lois so far. Even in this new universe, she's still the perceptive, intelligent, snarky, sarcastic, and badass woman I know her to be. She's also beautiful as hell. I enjoy that short haircut. Pixie cuts have my heart. Anyways, I enjoy her moments with Cal. Her investigative scenes as well. Issue 4 really made me like her. Jason Aaron is cooking with her. She can also fight exceptionally well, and she's kind-hearted. My personal favorite moment is when she teaches one of the Peacemakers a lesson for abusing his power. I also love how she's the only person who can actually read Cal. Everyone sees Cal as just a symbol, as just hope. But Lois, she sees through that exterior. She's the one person who can understand him on a deeper level. I mean, look at her observations of him. She had him pegged from the get-go. I'm vastly excited to see where her character goes on with this run. Other than Cal, she's definitely my favorite character. She's just as important as Superman, and people forget that. Also, their chemistry, Cal and Lois, is just beautiful. When I first read issue 1, I wasn't as pulled in compared to Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, but when I read issue 2 and I got that chemistry with both of them, I was sold on this. I really want to appreciate the creative team on the book. Jason Aaron is phenomenal on this. I remember I read his 3-issue Bizarro arc a while ago in Action Comics, and I was sold on his writing. So he's awesome. His writing is genuinely such a treat, and he's cooking so far. I hope he doesn't stop writing for this book anytime soon. And honestly, it looks like he doesn't either. Also, Rafa Sandoval's art is gorgeous. My eyes are blessed every single time I read an issue. He illustrates Cal with the perfect blend of a shy, lost child with the confident, trusting figure he is. Anytime he's on page, he looks like an angel. That man is gorgeous. On top of that, Kryptonian architecture and landscape is damn near ethereal. Ulysses Areola on colors brings Sandoval's work to life. Also, shout out that he colors Lois's eyes purple. Many fans, including myself, have always felt that that color belongs to her. Anyways, overall, this book has something more to say. It's not just about a lost child losing their world and trying to save a new one. It's also about calling out the powers above. The class structure on Krypton and the exploitation on Earth by the Lazarus Corporation makes one thing painfully clear. Those at the top only care about preserving their own power. It's a reflection of our real world, where inequality runs deep and the systems in place often serve the few at the expense of the many. And yet, even in a world so broken, Absolute Superman stands as a beacon. He's an individual who has endured immense tragedy, who sees the world for what it truly is: bleak, unjust, and spiraling towards self-destruction. But instead of turning away, he chooses to fight for us, to protect the working class, the children of the dirt, the people of steel. And that choice, in spite of everything, that is what I call hope. Thank y'all for watching. I had a blast making this video, and I'm considering making videos on the other titles on the Absolute verse. I personally enjoy Absolute Wonder Woman the most, other than, of course, Absolute Superman. So let me know if y'all want to see that. Either way, I might make it anyway because I really love what DC is doing with these stories. But until next time, I'll see y'all later. Mr. Juju, out.